Are you okay?
I'm good. All right.
Are you excited from last week?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
excited.
Chapter one. We learned the 7 names.
Mhm.
So now we want to know where these names came from, where you was born, as early as you can remember in life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, where was I born? I was born in West End, Grand Bahama, at the clinic there. And so I was born Bernadette Rose Hall, which was my mother's name. My mother was a Hall.
So Grand Bohemian, mother's Holy, you have your mother's last name. Okay, gotcha. What about your dad?
So yeah, mom and dad were not married. They had my mom had an affair with a policeman, um, Delbert Mackenzie, and so yeah, it was yeah not especially in 1974. Her being blonde haired, blue eyed, him being a black man. It wasn't like it was kind of taboo, and then out of wedlock as well. So yeah, so I ended up getting my mom's name.
Makes sense. So officer was married,
Yes.
had a little summer fling type of
A
thing.
little, no.
Oh,
Yeah. He had 4 children with his wife, but there were, I think, 6 children out of wedlock, and 3 of us have almost the same birthday.
so community service.
He was
He
busy.
was he was a police officer giving community service,
He was busy.
contributing to the community.
Mhm.
Do you have a relation with them? Like, was he part of your childhood? Even though, like, yeah, he has a wife, but did he like here and there he would come see you, introduce himself, type of thing? No.
No, I didn't really know him until I was um well, I guess when I moved back here in 1999, my mom I said to her, I really want to know who my dad is at this point. And she was like, okay. So I met him. It was a crazy encounter as well because I walked in a bar in Freeport. She'd set it up, and there's just like a whole bunch of guys sitting there one afternoon. It was probably about 1 o'clock, and I just scanned the room and I walked right over to him and I went, "I think you're my dad." And he was like, "Yep." And he opened up his briefcase and he had all these photographs of me from my childhood.
But he was keeping track.
He was keeping
Good
track.
police officer. He's a good police officer, keeping track,
Yeah, so
man.
it was kind of cool, and we didn't really stay in touch very much, but he would call me for my birthday and things like that. But unfortunately, he's passed away now. So is my mom, my biological mom. She passed away as well.
So you're a real adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, no parents. I'm a real adult.
Yeah. Out here all on my own. Yeah.
But you okay? You mentioned that you're born in Grand Bahama. How long were you in Grand Bahama for? Because you said you moved around a lot. Like,
Yeah, so I was born there. I lived with my mom until I was 2,
mhm.
and then when I guess if I'm not really sure. I never really got the reason why she gave me up the first time for adoption. She gave me to her brother's ex-wife. So her brother had married this lady. They had separated, and she had remarried. So her name was uh, Kay Beth. Well, she was actually Roberts, but she was a Hall. But she anyway Bethel, and she she
That's a
married
lot.
Gladwin Bethel from Hopetown, and that's how I got the connection to Hopetown.
Ah,
Yeah. So and I left. So I lived with them in Freeport, and then we used to come to Hopetown for summer holidays. And we'd stay down on Toulouse. We had our own little. Well, first it was tents, and then we gradually built like a little. I mean, basically a shack, and we lived there. And well, we would visit for like 6 weeks every summer. And then when I was about 7, we moved there permanently. So Kay had 3 sons, and Gladwin had a daughter, but she was older. She never lived with us, but I grew up with Kay's sons like they were my brothers. So and technically, I've always said I have 3 brothers, but they're actually my first cousins. Yeah,
normally that's how it works. The cousins and sibling,
yeah,
you don't really know the difference in this case.
yeah,
That's pretty
pretty
normal.
much. Yeah.
Um, so what was it like living in Toulouse? Because you're two no longer in, well, back and forth between Abaco and Grand Bahama, then you just end up in Toulouse. How was that life?
It was hard. It was we didn't have power, we didn't have running water. So, back then we had like a cistern and we would have to bail water out of the cistern and fill up jugs. We had a generator that ran like maybe an hour or so in the evening. We had a lot of animals, and that's
So you
from
basically was camping all the time.
oh yeah, pretty much
Okay,
camping all
because
the
that's what
time.
that sounded to me like. What?
camping all the time, basically. So we grew all of our own vegetables and things, and we had a pet raccoon, we had ducks, um, we used to get the turtles and raise them so that when they were bigger, we had like any type of animal that was injured, seagulls and stuff like that. Or yeah, it was cats, dogs, pigs, chickens, ducks. I mean, we had it all. It was like
Okay, so like
yeah,
a bush mechanic, but you were like an island vet.
fly.
Yeah,
An island vet visit whisperer. Yeah.
that works.
Yeah, and then so when we moved there when I was 7, I went back and forth by boat to
Mhm.
Hopetown for school. But when I was about 11, well, probably like 10, 10 and a half, these people used to visit every year. They would come down on their yacht and they would sail for like 3 months out of the year. And this one year, they stopped off and they were walking the beach. This is the very first time they stopped. They walked the beach and they found this kitten. And they were like, well, what are we going to do with this kitten? They walked up to our house and they were like, we have this kitten. We don't want to take it on the boat. Can you, will you take it and look after it? We can't just leave it on the beach. Hence the name of child for kitten.
So they swap you for the kitten.
A few
What?
years later, yeah, pretty much that's what happened.
Hey, they found a kitten, bring it to the island vet whisperer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Wow.
Yeah, so that was how I met my second adopted parents. They came and chopped off this cat.
So how long between the cat incident and like the official I'm gonna go with them kind
Yeah.
of adoption?
It was a couple of years. I mean, they
Okay.
came like every year. They would come down and they'd bring like presents. And I remember one year, I got this like red purse. It was like a red leather handbag, and they'd bring things down for all of us, really. But it was a few years, and then they came, and my step parents, Curly and Kay, were like, "Look, we're really struggling because by this time my brothers had all gone. They're 4 years older than me, so they were already like moved on and were doing their own things. Wayne was one place, Arnold was one place, John didn't even never move with us. So they're like, we need help with her. And they were like, well, why don't we adopt her? We'll just take her to England and we'll put her in school for you. And they agreed to it, I guess, after they consulted with my mom, because that was a whole nother thing that happened. They, I guess, had to get permission from my mom because they didn't really legally adopt me by paper. I was just kind of living with them. So they got in touch with my mom, I guess. And then my mom was like, well, send her to me first. So, but I didn't know she was my mom. I always thought she was my aunt.
Oh.
Yeah. So before I went to England, I went to stay with her. I stayed with her for about 6 months. And about halfway through, she goes, I got something to tell you. And I was like, okay. I kind of knew something was up, but I didn't know exactly what it was.
So you just have these like kid instincts, be like, that's
Some,
definitely my dad because I can feel it. And then
yeah.
with your mom, you're like,
Yeah. And I kind of, and the crazy thing is, my dad was still coming around. So I actually, even then, he came and visited, but I didn't know he was my dad. I just thought it was one of my mom's friends. But he was my dad. And I met my
oh, he
sibling.
was a friend, all right. He was a
So
friend. My girl, how
yeah.
you think you got here?
Yeah. So my mom sat me down. She goes, I'm not your aunt. I'm your mom. I was 11.
How did you take that? Because me, I'd be like, girl.
I kind of knew it was like weird. I kind of knew something was going on. Like, why did I have to go see her? All the way from Toulouse, like to go. I mean, I knew she was my favorite aunt, everything, but and like she kind of helped, I guess, with stuff. But
doesn't that give you a valid reason to be like, girl, go see your favorite aunt one more time because
yeah,
we're about to ship you off? No.
yeah, that was pretty much what happened. I stayed with her for like 6 months, and then my second adopted parents, the people from England, came and got me and packed up, and off I went to England.
What were your emotions when she told you that? Like,
I mean, I was through a lot of things. I mean, I don't remember exactly. I can remember sitting on the bed with her and just how we're talking right now, her saying she needed to tell me. And it was kind of this time of day, late afternoon, and just thinking I was angry at first because, like, what? Like, all this time you've been in my life, you were my mom, but why weren't you my mom? Like, why weren't you doing mom duties? Why weren't you there? But yet she was. She was always like, we would do picnics and camping trips and stuff. And it was just like, and at that point, I didn't know I was going to England either. So it was just kind of, she was telling, and then it was like, by the way, these people want to take you to England. A few weeks later, like the next conversation came, was like, so you're my mom and you're giving me away again.
Big family secret.
Yeah.
By the way, now that you know the family secret, you gotta go.
Like, yeah. So, but then she explained, she's like, it's a really good opportunity, and you'll get good schooling. I can't give you this, and you weren't getting it on Toulouse. They really sold it like it was going to be this amazing opportunity, which in some senses it was. Sure, I got to do a lot of things I probably wouldn't have gotten to do if I'd stayed in Freeport or in Toulouse, but there was definitely a price to pay for that. There was a lot of things that went on after that.
Met your dad at a bar. Weirdest place to meet him, but hey.
He owned the bar at the
Oh,
time, in his
okay.
defense. I mean, I guess he was at work.
Right, the community service officer.
Was at
Sorry, gotta
work.
start labeling them. Community service officer
Uh-huh.
met you at the bar.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it is what it is. Mom, who is the favorite aunt, but not really the mom, but is the mom, tells me family secret and shipped me off one time.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then first set of adopted parents, which is awesome people because they're teaching me like island life, have me be
Life skills.
yeah.
I always said, like, my stepfather Curly was my favorite dad, like out of all three dads, because he taught me how to survive. He taught me to appreciate the environment and life, and like, I mean, I could take an engine apart and build an engine. I could paint a boat. I could build the generator. I could feed the animals. I could look after. I mean, like,
So
just
you was
life
just
skills.
technically one of the boys.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it sounds like to me. like
yeah.
I have three brothers, so technically I'm like.
But he didn't have a little girl, and so I was like his favorite little girl. Like Daddy's little girl.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
a shadow. You gotta be everything I'm doing. You're
did.
part of it.
Oh yeah, everything. Like we'd go out sculling, and he'd take me out pulling for conch, and yeah, it was awesome. It was really good.
Quick question: what color was this kitten though? Just I'm trying to put into, yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know.
I was just making sure y'all was in the same shade, just child for kitten. Curious. I'm curious to know what color the kitten was.
I don't know.
You need to think about the kitten so much that you end up dreaming about the kitten because we're gonna need to know what color this kitten was that they treated for a child.
Okay, well, I'll work on that.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember it being like gray and white and striped, but I mean, that could just be my imagination at this point because who knows? But yeah, black and white, gray and white and striped. Yeah.
So after all of that, after meeting your dad, you say you and him were.
I met him in 1999. So
and you didn't see him again until when?
He came back. He came back to Abaco and visited once. And like I said, we talked on the phone. And then when I moved to England in 2013, he came from Freeport and stayed for the weekend and met his grandkids and stuff. So yeah, I mean, he was cool. He was an awesome guy. Just he wasn't, he wasn't my father per se. He fathered me, but he didn't.
So he was like a donut, and then eventually like. Okay. And what about your mom? Like after you left for England, when was like the next time you guys met and probably had a conversation?
My mom, my biological mom, I probably was mid-20s. Unfortunately, the folks that adopted me didn't let me have any contact with her. I was completely severed all contact.
Do you feel like that contributed a lot to the person that you've become, or at least the experience that you had once you got over there? Like nothing was holding you back from exploring or learning as much as you can within that time being with them?
I think it shaped me that way. I think more it shaped me about trust, my trust issues, because like I trusted these people. I had to,
Right.
There I was with these people. Like all of a sudden, boom, nobody else in the whole wide world that I knew, no phone number to call anybody or anything. I mean, even if I did, I mean, in the first 6-8 months, I wasn't thinking about calling anybody. And, of course, everything when it first starts out is great, isn't it?
Right.
So I didn't have a need. It wasn't like, alarm bells going off. I need to call people to come and rescue me. It wasn't until, years later that those sorts of things happened that it was like, whoa, like, and by then I was already adopted and I was these new people's child. So I had to kind of go with the flow. So yeah, I don't think it shaped me so much because I had parents and parental guidance and they were there, even though they shipped me off to boarding school, but that's another story. They were parents, so I didn't really feel like any loss in that area. They were still similar to Curly and Kay. I was bathed, I was clothed, I was fed, all the basics. But I think as time went on and I discovered that, my mom was right there. I could have called her, I could have spoken to her, I could have been in touch with her and had them as parents,
Right.
but that was taken away from me. So I think, there, and when things started to go, when I realized that, where trust is like, whoa, you can't trust everybody. Not everybody that says something to you
They
is
have the
what it
best of your interests.
is
It's
at
true.
heart. Exactly. Yeah. So that was a lot for today,
Yeah.
huh?
This okay. Episode 1. We met the parents. Know where you're born. The first and second adoption.
Hmm.
Great. So we
The only
learned.
2 adoptions. There aren't any more adoptions.
Are you sure? Because you have 7 names. We need to unpack these names.
Mhm.
Remember now.
Yeah.
Hall, we've discovered.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm remembering now.
Yeah.
Oh, Bethel. Bethel.
Yeah. Hmm.
We're gonna figure out the rest as we go. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm gonna get used to it.
Yeah.
But it's a good start.
It is.
Yeah,
It's been great to talk about it again.
The book that's now turning into a podcast. So this is still like chapter 1.
I guess chapter 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. We call it chapters. I don't know.
We don't know yet.
Series.
But
Yeah.
A Child for a Kitten. First official episode is out because last week we did introduction. Which, by the way, question 52. How does it feel?
The same. Nothing. More aches and pains. Like I got a creak in my neck this week. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you had a moment just where you had to remember something, and I'm like, 52's kicking it.
Yeah, that's what can I say? Mm-hmm.
So, this project.
Yeah.
How do you feel with the fact that you put in the introduction last week on your birthday, and now you are now recording the first official episode of telling people about you, not about what the podcast is going to be, but now you're actually going through the layers?
I feel inspired, I guess. Lots of great feedback, which I appreciate, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. And yes, she does definitely do a great interview, huh?
I just talk a lot, actually. So I'm just being productively talkative now.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm just hopeful that somebody will watch it and be like, oh my gosh, you know what? I am going to choose happiness, and I'm going to be inspired from it. And they may be going through something, and like we talked about today, if you have that feeling inside your stomach that something isn't right,
Mhm.
go with that. Because your gut is your guide. That's where it lives. And
Your gut sometimes be a little too active. So we gotta block it out.
You gotta, yeah. Sometimes you do, but most often I found in my experiences that if it didn't feel right, it probably wasn't. So it's good to be able to hopefully get somebody else that'll watch this and be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I should question something a little bit more. Maybe, um, you know, there's some things that people will get out of it and be inspired,
Yeah.
encouraged.
So free therapy with a little bit of tea.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm hoping for. Yeah, I mean, it's tough using my own story for it, because especially that so many people are watching it that think, oh my god, her laughter.
Yeah, because now you're not just telling your business like your best friend, close family, or just a therapist who you gotta pay for. But anyways,
Yeah.
But now it's more of a I'm talking to you because I know you, but then at the same time, when we put this out there are people that see me every day, people that are part of this story, and there are people who don't know me or who's had like very limited access interaction with me, but now they're like find this backstory and they're gonna be like, wow.
Well, I'm not doing it for the wow factor. I'm doing it for that one person that's going to watch it, that is going to find some type of hope and strength from it. Because, yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get a little bit more in depth about those things as we go on. Like, having faith.
Like how was England life living boarding school? Why did you end up there? I want to know.
Yeah, that we'll get into a little bit more about all of that next time. But yeah.
All right. So I'm looking forward to chapter 2.
Yeah.
Next week, Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thursdays.
Okay. No matter what happens.